On the first scramble, Keon does the yellow V. There's two ways to do this V, and you chose the better one because the other case gives like bad sledge, which is just not great. But what you chose gives good Nikki, or good Sochi. So you do U, L, R, B prime, and then you have that with two AUFs. So the main obvious issue, which you should already know this at this point, is that you didn't do ML4E here, because I think you don't know ML4E from what I've seen, but this is like a really, really good case, the best ML4E case. And so if you chose to do it from this angle, you can do U, R, B, L prime, and then you have U prime, and then the case is just like that with no post AUF, and that saves you two moves. And I think it's a little bit more ergonomic than doing like that, because you can just go like that, and the way it flows with the V is pretty good too if you chose to do the very specific execution choice here. So while it is normally good practice to flick the U from the front, with this scramble, it's actually, in my opinion, better to start flicking from the back. And it's fine because it's on pickup, so it really doesn't affect it much because you can just angle it like that and it's still kind of the same distance you have to travel. But flicking it from the back lets you kind of do it more regripless, like there's just like a slight regrip there. And that makes it a lot easier for that B move you had to do. Because if you do it from there, you kind of have to do a little bit more awkward. But if you do it from there, your finger doesn't have to move at all. On this solve, Keon chose to do the red V. He does kind of an awkward V, but messed up the one looking on it, I guess. The tip execution was good, but he does the V like B, L, R prime, B. And obviously here you just get sledge U prime, but he messed up here and did like that. So ignoring the obvious mistake here, the V itself is pretty, awkward. It is efficient, though it could be done slightly more efficiently. Like move optimal here is like doing B, L, and then instead of doing R prime, B sledge, you can just do sledge, B, U. And that's because, it only affects the three edges in the front, so you can do that. So yeah, while that solution's okay, like it is pretty move efficient, it's not very good to execute. Like it's not the worst, but I think this is one of the scrambles where you may want to consider doing something higher move count just to get better finger tricks. Like there's obvious, like these are the most obvious V's. Like you can do U prime, L prime, RBR prime, or like U prime, or like L prime, U prime, RBR prime. I think this one gives you this case, which you can cancel into. And yeah, that's a few more moves, but when you're thinking about the environment you are in, as these are official solves, I would choose not to do like just the move efficient thing because it's kind of awkward. But like this solution, that's like pretty good to execute, pretty safe, and you'll still get a pretty good time on it. Like I don't think you would do much better on this scramble had you executed it correctly, just because of the awkward B moves. But yeah, that's just something to consider a bit more. It's kind of a dependent scramble. It's hard to say exactly what's better. Scramble 3, Keon does something very inefficient, but very, very good. It's basically just doing an insert and then you get foreflip. I have no notes on this. Your execution was literally like perfect. That was TPS NAR tied with Parker. Yeah, nothing really to say on that one. On this scramble, Keon does the green V. He solves the tips, and then it's a pretty straightforward V. You can just do L prime U, L prime R prime. That makes the V, and that R prime cancels into L3E with no AUFs, which is pretty nice. So I don't really have any critiques on the solution. It's pretty straightforward. However, the way you executed your tips was not great. You did these two tips with your left hand, and then you did R first and then B. So if you're going to do all four tips at the start, which is something I like to do as well, you should be making it more simultaneous. Doing like RB, like one by one, wastes a lot of time. And a better way of doing it would have been to either do 3 tips at once and save the B tip for the end, or better yet, do them all at once. Like that would be pretty good. Or you can do it like that, which I'm not really good at finger tricking it, but you get the idea. But doing R and then B was just kind of a waste. You could have done that and then gone into the rest of the solution. So yeah, just don't waste time on your tips, because that was a big time waste. For the last scramble, Keon does the most whack solution I've ever seen in my life. Solves the tips, solves the blue V on the right side, like that, rotates, and then gets this L4E, and unfortunately has a little bit of a lockup on it. Yeah, I don't know what to say. Like, I get that this solve, you want a kind of safety, just like a good solve, because you're on PR pace. However, that's just not the way to do it. Like, if I wanted to just do a safe solution that I know I can do well on, I would have done green on this from this angle, and that's just doing the tips, U prime, L prime, and then insert this edge, and you get good Sochi with no AUF at the end. And that saves you 3 moves, and it's pretty good. Like, that would have definitely gotten you a way better solve than a 2.0. If you're trying to be a little bit more efficient, trying to be, kind of fancy, this solution's a bit more difficult to execute well, but it has potential. You do the tips, and you do this V on red. You do U prime, L prime, R prime, L, but then that L actually cancels into that, so that actually saves you 6 moves on your solution and another 3 moves from the solution I showed beforehand. Yeah, like I get the idea. Like, you want to just safety on solve 5 because you can pretty easily PR here, but you should still try to look a little bit further, because honestly, like, I don't even know why you looked at that. Like, that is just that's just like a weird thing to see, like, especially from that angle. Like, if you did it from this angle, you can at least get that ML4E case, which is a little better, but the V's awkward. But yeah, like, I don't really know what to say here, other than you should have just looked a little bit further. Like, this solution is probably what I would have done in competition, because I would see this, because I mean, this is the most efficient V, 1, 2, 3, 4, and it cancels, but I'm not great about canceling into this this L4E case. And once if I was in that position and I just saw I could get this case, I would have just immediately gone for that.